Welcome to Give a Shift, the
Yay!
podcast you want to be listening to for positive, radical change in your life. I'm Nancy Leeds Gribble. I don't even know my own name, with my co-host.
Take two, Alicia Ziegler.
Yes, and welcome. Thank you for tuning in to episode 3. We are so excited. And today we want to just kind of unpack a little bit an event we went to on Monday or attended on Monday virtually, The Art of Livin, with Matthew McConaughey, Marie Forleo, Tony Robbins, Trent Shelton.
Dean Graziosi, I think.
Yep. And it was fabulous. I think, Alicia, how many pages of notes do you have?
Let's see.
Okay, so
nobody half.
Yeah, you guys, for the podcast, you can't see that. That's 84 pages of notes. We will not.
I promise.
We will not be reading all of those today. But for Alicia and I, the event really was just kind of reconfirming everything she and I absolutely stand for, what we love, how we're trying to not only live our lives, but lead others to live their life too. And we have a million takeaways, but we were trying to figure out how to start it. And I think one of the things we heard was kind of like the vision, right? Like having the vision for our own lives. And what was said, it was Trent Shelton, and what he said is like having your vision, how you really want to live your life. I mean, first you've got to think about it. But it's also what tends to happen for a lot of people is think of your vision like your own set of prescription glasses, and you're excited about it and you want to make the change. And we already know we're going to talk a lot in our podcast and episodes how hard and challenging change can be, but you are ready. And then you take your vision, and I give it to Alicia, and I say, Alicia, try on my vision. And what does she say?
I can't see a gosh darn thing, Nancy.
Right. And so then she's like, take it back. What are you thinking? That vision's no good.
Right.
And then you're like, oh, that vision's no good. And he did such a beautiful job of saying, like, you're giving your prescription glasses to somebody else. Of course, they're not going to see the vision the way you see it. It's your vision. It's your prescription.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. And so we love that. We thought it was a great way to kind of start in that. The first thing is to have a vision, because we also know you can have that vision, or you're getting into the hypnotic rhythm of life that he said, and maybe you've just forgot that you deserve to have a vision.
Yeah, right. I feel like there's such a huge element to kind of living your life on autopilot.
Yeah.
And I think what it does is let's say you're on autopilot and you feel just this slight feeling that something's kind of not working for you. But I was just talking about it actually at prayer group this morning, where you're going through something and you're just doing it, but it's not really activated, and it's kind of leaving you a little depressed. And then all of a sudden that leads you to start looking at, well, that person's doing that and that person's doing that. And well, I used to want to do this, but I can't do this anymore because, right? And then all of a sudden you start to fill in the because with all the reasons why you think you can't. And then it's confirmed by the universe, right? Because what you think about the most is what you bring about. And so now you have universal confirmation, because you've literally designed your vision to not exist for you any longer. So you're doing everything on autopilot, and you find yourself really unhappy or unhealthy or sad or, despondent, depressed, withdrawn, not engaging with your partner, not exercising, not making healthy choices, like really simple things that can make a difference or start to lead to change.
Yeah.
But you're kind of given up on yourself.
Yeah.
And right, what he made that joke that it wasn't about some big old fancy vision board, to which I was like, I think I sent you a picture during.
Yeah, so I have a vision board.
Vision board.
And we like vision boards here. We are not putting vision boards down. We like them.
No, but I think that's the thing, right? Like really kind of tapping into what what little thing can you do to clean off your glasses and
Yeah.
refresh, like hit the refresh and reset button on it? Like I constantly update my vision board to just something that really does heart inspire me. Like when I
Yeah.
look at it, I get like, oh, I want to like, that's me. I want to have that. Or it's something that really kind of you can lean into. And I
Yeah.
think that's with the vision that people kind of give up on. And that's when they do, the doom scrolling on Instagram and they get sad because it's not that you want someone else's vision, it's that you've really let go of your own
Or you never had one.
or you've
Yeah.
never had one.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, I talk about this, I do a kind of midlife manifesto. And when I talk to women about kind of the keys to mastering midlife, and the first
Mhm.
thing I'll say is, when we're young, we plan like what kind of college we're going to go to, maybe what career we're going to have. Do we want to get married? Do we not want to get married? Kids, no kids. We really think about these things and then we move towards them and then life, right? Now you're just in the doing, the doing, the doing, the doing. You hit midlife, and for women, woo, all the hormones and everything comes flowing, and your body
Mhm.
has changed. And you're just in the reactive. You're just constantly reactive, and you no longer think about how you want your future to be. You don't even think about a future. Maybe you just buy into at 50 years old. I'm old. This is just the way it is. And no, like that is what we are here to talk about, is that whole shift in the mindset. Put your glasses back on, put those vision prescriptions
Right.
back on. And let's talk about that a little bit today. Like, let's get the vision, think about it. And one of the things Trent said that I loved was, if you want to rise higher, before you do that, you have to dig deeper.
Mhm.
And we talked about that in our first podcast, like that deeper why. Like, why is this important to you?
Mhm.
And, so I think that's the very first step, is like, take some time today, if you're listening to the podcast, and just reflect. Do I have a vision for where I want to go in any area of your life? And then why do I want to, right? Because that's what's going to hold strong for you. So that was one of the things that I took away right away. What about you? What was something that stuck out for you?
I really loved that he said, we don't live on the extra credit of potential. We live in vision and soul.
Yes.
And that
Mm.
the things that have happened to you are for you. As
Yes.
dark, as morbid, as painful, as heartbreaking, these are my own words, not Trent's, as they can be,
Yeah.
but they were custom made for you. And as kind of twisted as that may sound, I realized, I think we, even in our first podcast, that's kind of what jump started our life, right? Like
Yeah.
we took what happened and we're able to utilize it almost as fuel. And when he said there is no limitations because you are living in purpose, everything that may feel like it doesn't exist is kind of the path to that vision, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, writing a book or starting a podcast
Yeah.
or wanting to be a thought leader or starting a group or anything, right? Anything that you've wanted to do that you've kind of just been like, but well, everybody else is doing it, or I
Yeah.
can't do it, or right. And all of a sudden that becomes like this really heavy, burdened, kind of sad state. And
Yeah.
so I think they labeled it a fictitious ceiling, right? Like we put these fictitious ceilings and kind of trap ourselves into, this is what we're doing and the vision's already been done by everybody else, so why would I do it? But
Yeah.
everything that's happened to you, even if it only changes one person's life because you figured out how to overcome the grief or share it or put it on a platform where people can see it and bounce back from it. And so that's what I like, that the really remembering that we are so gifted and we're not limited.
Yeah. Yeah.
Eh,
And we're not, and don't play small.
right.
Like, who? This was from a long time ago. It was Marianne Williamson, actually, and I remember her words. Who are you to play small? Like, God doesn't want you playing small. And this by no means means like, if you have a good life and you're comfortable, but always be Making sure you're at the forefront and that you're living your life to the fullest. One of them I've always said, don't sit on the sidelines of your own life. And I think it was rephrased another way at the
Mhm.
event on Monday. I forgot, you know, you wrote it
Was it
down.
the when would now be a good time?
Yeah. Yeah. Or it was,
If you
oh
want to
no,
sit over there. Oh,
it was the wanting. Don't sit on the pavement of wanting
oh
or,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
And
Right.
it's
And
the
that would
same
be
thing.
don't die a watcher.
Yeah. Don't die a watcher. It's the same thing. Don't sit on the sidelines. Jump
Wishing.
into your life, jump into your life. And so get those vision prescription glasses on. And remember, it is unique to you. And one thing Marie Forleo always says is the world needs that very exact, unique thing you
Mhm.
can bring to it. So whatever it is, it's really important that you like tap into that and live life. There was another saying with that. Don't live with your potential, live in your potential. That one I like highlighted. I did all the
Yeah.
things in, you know, that's all the intentions, right? Well, I intend to do this. I intend one day I'm going to do this. I intend that I'm going to be, you know, donating more of my time at a certain charity. I've been saying that for a while since I moved to Texas. I'm like, oh, I haven't found my charity. And I'm like, when he said that, I'm like, it's time, Nancy. Like
Right.
I have the big ones, but I don't have a local one. And I'm like, yeah, Nance, stop living with that intention. Like, go do it. It's really important. So I found that one was just really, I loved that one. I highlighted it. It was cute.
And that's the thing too, like it's so gratifying. I donate platelets at the children's hospital
Yeah.
as frequently as I can. And I started with blood, and then when they took away the blood donation center at the hospital because the funding was no longer there and they moved it to the children's hospital, um, I realized that it was going to take me out of my comfort zone of like, okay, here's my blood for 10 minutes. And they're like, can we stick a needle in your arm for 2 hours? And I was like, okay. And it was, but that little, here's the thing that comes full circle. This is where I'm going with this. So I used to run into the hospital, donate blood and leave, right?
Yeah.
Now I go to the children's hospital and it's an experience. And there is
Mm,
a reframing of perspective because I am even more grateful that I get to go to a place where I get to see little kids all around me just so happy to be living that day.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right. And we're running around and we're not living with our vision and we're doing all of these things. And then you take a moment, you stop and you go, but this is life. This
Yes.
giving back is part of the vision, this contribution, this ability to say, I'm here for you. And it's, there's no greater gift
Yeah.
because they wish that they could go do all the things that we could do. Right. So it's almost like this crazy selfish thing where it's like, why wouldn't you dust off your glasses or go get a new pair or wake up and just say, I've got to start right now and just do something. Right. Like
And
this
just
is
do
you're
something.
the shift. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
right. Like,
Yeah.
okay, so you had a bad day. Everybody has a bad day.
Yeah.
It's how you utilize it. Are you going to really live in the muck, or
Yeah.
is it okay, no, you know what? Matthew was hysterical. What did he say? He was like, when I step in shit.
Yeah. Yeah. And then he
Am
was
I
talking
gonna
about how he keeps stepping in it. He's like, and then I go and I step in it again. And I know how not to step in it, but I keep stepping in it. Until one day you're like, I want to wipe this off my shoe.
Totally. And be
And
done
go
with that,
around it.
or navigate around it, or do something differently. And, I know it was in a different context, but that's what it reminds me of, just because it's like, it's kind of a reality check.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a really good reality check. And I think that is kind of really what we want here, right? Is to bring the awareness to you to start becoming aware of your life. You might be living life like everywhere you want right now, and that's fabulous. But most people are kind of in that stuck phase and they don't
Mhm.
even realize it sometimes. And we just want to like have you thinking forward. We want you to be thinking forward and thinking of ways that you can really live your life to the fullest and live intentionally and give a shift, obviously, which they did say the word shift a lot, which Alicia and I were like, yeah, that's right.
Shift it up.
I mean, we're just saying.
Yeah, and I guess to like, if someone's listening going, well, how do I even start that?
Yeah.
I am a big advocate of listening to that inner voice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like we get downloads all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. Or signs.
Yeah.
Or someone asks you something and you kind of are like, no, I'm not writing the book anymore. Or, but that was the voice. That was someone igniting you to go do the thing that you, or oh, are you still going to the gym? Like,
Yeah.
even when you don't think that that's how you're being prompted in life, I really think that you are.
Yeah.
So if you are literally thinking, I don't really know what my vision is, I don't think you necessarily need to sit and meditate. You can, or journal, but kind of just be cognizant of when you're doing the dishes or walking your dog or doing your laundry and the little download happens and you're like, huh, maybe I do still want to do that. I do want to invest in that part of myself, or I do want to explore something new, or, I saw this thing and that looked really intriguing. Maybe there's a course or a class or a group, and start to get involved, and always, right, bite-sized. Doesn't have to be overnight.
You don't have to change your whole life overnight. That's not, nope. Not that you don't have to divorce the husband, throw the kids out, like change careers.
Right. And I mean, that was kind of the thing with me with my own vision. Like I have had a bucket list item. I have a birthday coming up and I'm getting a year older. And I just said, it's time to just do it. So I have a few things, but one of them is I want to run at least a 50 miler. Like I want to do one ultra and start there. So that's my vision that came to me literally as a like, hello, don't forget. You've been on the vision board for like 10 years. So now I was like, okay, so I'm just going to do the damn thing because why not? Now's the time. When would be a good time? Yesterday, but we'll start now. How about for you? Did you have any?
People always say that. When's the best time? I'm like, probably yesterday, but today's just as good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that applies to us too, right? I started sitting in. So when I was a realtor before, very successful realtor in Florida, and for massive amounts of reasons, I left that. Talked about that on the first episode. But when I was trying to figure out what to do, I actually read the book, The Hero. It's the sequel to The Secret. And I was reading that book, and in the book, she mentioned about how we actually do this, how we make such a drastic change. I mean, I was almost 50, broke, like bankrupt broke, with my young son. And I'm like, what am I going to do? And I was not in shape, just FYI. But it kept going like, what are you gravitating towards? And I have been gravitating towards over the last year or two to really a lot of health and upping my health and my own fitness. And I found that was really a draw for me and something I loved. And so that's kind of how I just went, what do I normally gravitate towards these days? That was my therapy. That was my happy place right then. And that's how I ended up making this huge change in my life. Now, when I'm not unsure, I will sit and I'll just ask God for divine downloads. And this is really funny because actually this weekend, so I've been asking God for a divine download on something very specific. And I feel like he's been giving me hints. And over the weekend, I feel like he was throwing snowballs at me. And it was like, ding, ding, ding. And on Monday, after the thing, I went, oh my gosh, I'm like that person that's like drowning in the water and saying, God, just give me, come save me. And he's like, I threw a life raft to you. I brought out a rowboat. I did this, like, hello. And
I sent a lifeguard.
So be kind with yourself too, as you're trying to figure out like, hey, what do I want? If it doesn't like come to you right away, but you're like, just like Alicia said, there's that spark. There's like,
an intuitive,
yeah. And we would love to hear what maybe you're thinking of, like what spark has been maybe dormant or that you said it's not for me, not now, I'm too old, I'm too many injuries, maybe you can shift something. We would love to hear and cheer you on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have, we won't go too long. Do you have a takeaway, one takeaway, like thing they said that you'd like to end with?
Oh my goodness. Oh my
I do.
goodness.
I have mine.
Okay. Okay. Well, the inspiration is small, but transformation is lasting. That made me think of you specifically because I know you always say that. But okay, you go first, and I'll peek at my.
I did. I was highlighting, I was writing, but I loved this one. So this is how I'm going to leave today, and then Alicia will sign us out.
Okay.
You are one choice. You are a choice away from a new beginning and a commitment away from a new life. I loved it.
And to piggyback that, you know what I wrote down that I took away was, how are you doing with your dream?
Oh, I love it.
And that one hit me really hard. And I don't know if it's just because I'm an artist and I feel like I should be somewhere, and this is, my age and how much work I've done and what I'm up against in the culture and this and that and the whole business. And I was like, how are you doing with your dream? And then they followed it with the emotional quality that you have as home base.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that kind of brings me back to, if your vision feels messy right now and you feel chaotic on the inside, that really kind of settling down and finding what is that happy place.
Yeah.
Even if it's just one photo or one mantra or one little thing. Like, I sometimes put a Post-it note on my mirror of just like, you got this. Like, if I'm feeling like life is happening and something's making me feel like this emotional turmoil, and then my vision feels like, oh my gosh, is this too much? I realize, no, it's not too much, right? Aren't we divinely equipped with everything that we need to handle?
Yes.
We're never giving something that we can't take on and move forward and charge on with. So they said, don't let culture be selling us Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
So you do you. It is okay to have your vision. It is okay if 75 people are also doing the same thing, because they are not you, right? It's like, lean in, move forward, and just, for lack of a better word, do the damn thing.
Do the damn thing.
I mean, really, that was my takeaway, is like, leave your legacy. Do what you want to do right now for you. Like, in that way, be selfish. Yeah. Because it makes you selfless by being able to give back to the people around you and to yourself. It only, elevates.
It really does. I don't know that we could stress that enough. Because I know we both, we've mentioned, we're both coaches. We work with people, and we hear all the time, I'm too busy to take care of me. But the reality is, once you actually do start taking care of you, you find suddenly you have this expansiveness that you actually can do more for other people. And hint, hint, when it comes to your health and nutrition, you can be around longer to do more for people. Right? So, I'm just saying, it's a good win right there. So really, it really is important. None of this stuff is woo-hoo-y. It's not, you can't just think things. You do have to take action. But you just want to find that one thing that maybe you can hang your hat on today that says, okay, I can take action tomorrow doing this. I can just go walk for 5 minutes. I can go dream again, like Alicia was saying, whatever it is, your life is worth it. It's your life, and we only have this one. And you want to live it as fully and energetically and happy as possible.
That's sexy. I like that.
Yeah. You want to give a shift. So on that note, we are going to end, and we thank you all for listening to us. Please be sure to subscribe. We are, new out of the gate. We're learning as we go. We practice progress over perfection, just like we tell everybody to do, and we have to do it right in front of you. So
we are exposed.
And we thank you. We thank you for being here. And please, if Anyone who, would like to join us, become our BFFs too. That's kind of how we want this to be. Very casual, fun, but inspiring. Ask them to listen and subscribe too. And then we will be back next week.
Exciting.
Yay.